Working with hypertext links. Now we're going to add some hypertext links to our document. A hypertext link is some text that when we click on it will take us to another page. That page may be within our website, it may be on another website, it could be anywhere on the web. We're going to add some links to these items in our navigation bar across the top so that when we click on the word locations, it will take us to the locations page. Right now, it doesn't do anything when we click on it. It's just a list of words. So let's go in there, and on the word locations, let's add an element to create a hypertext link. This element is probably the most oddly named element in HTML. The name of the element is A. So it's just A, and we have a closing tag that we will put after the text that we want to be the hypertext link. So there's our A element. A actually stands for the word anchor, which is a use that this tag is no longer used for. So it's kind of an odd history and an odd name, but it's funny how quickly you get used to it and just put A's in for links without really thinking too much about it. The A element has a required attribute, href. Href stands for hypertext reference, similar to what we used in the link element in the head section. So in here we put the file name that we want to link to. In this case, we want to link to ctlocations.html. This will now create a hypertext link in our page that will link to that item. We'll go back to our web browser and put the mouse over the word locations. You can see when I do that, the cursor changes from an arrow to a little hand with a finger. I call that a clicky finger because that's the finger, the index finger you'd click the mouse with. That indicates that that item will do something when you click on it. In this case, our style sheet is also changing the appearance of it to be black background with white text on it, but that's an additional feature that our CSS is providing. It's not the default behavior, but the cursor changing is a default behavior. If I click on locations now, we'll see it takes us to our locations. So that's great. Let's go back to the About Us, and we'll add links for all the items in the list, including the About. The About will just take us to this same page, which won't really do anything, but later we'll see that we need that on all the elements. We'll go into our navigation list and add A elements on all of the rest of the words. Now we have all the links in our list. Now when we go back to the browser, we see that when we put the mouse over each of those words, it highlights and our cursor changes to the clicky finger, and we can click on one of those to go to any of those pages. Now you'll notice that when I go to menu, there isn't a navigation list at the top of this page, and that's because we'll have to copy it to each of those pages. The menu.html document doesn't have that navigation list in it. So we'll add that in a minute, but first let's go back and look at one other thing we can do with links. So I mentioned that the A element is a text level element, so we can wrap it around text and make that into a hypertext link. It also works with images. Images are actually considered text level elements. So we can wrap an A element around an image, for example this image in the header, and make that go to our start page so that clicking on that curbside tie banner at the top will take us to the ct_start.html page. So I'll add another A element there, put the opening tag before the image and the closing tag after the image, and that will create a link on that image. If I go back to the browser now, you'll see that when I put my mouse over the graphic for curbside tie, it turns into the clicky finger. And if I click on it, it takes us to our start page. We now have a complete header section with a link on the image and a navigation list with links to all our pages. So what we can do is copy that entire header section from our About page, including the opening and closing header tags, copy that, and go to each of the pages in our website and replace the header section on those pages. So if I go to Reviews, I can replace the header, and so on through the rest of the pages. Now on the CT Start page, it's a little bit different. It has images for each of our pages in our website, and you'll see there's already links on those pages. So the author's already done that one for us. If we click on About Us, it takes us to the About Us page, and then our navigation will work internally. It's not uncommon for a website to have a unique opening page like this CT Start. The rest of the pages follow a similar template. In the next video, we'll talk about exactly what this is that we're putting in there. Here we're putting a file name for a file in our own website. This is a URL, and we'll look at what that means in the next video.